Hey guys, how you going? So another video about some reporting on the BBC. Just to say, this whole thing I'm doing on my channel with some conservative view videos of the BBC, it is completely separate to my homesteading videos. They come out every single Sunday, so if you just want to watch the videos about my progress on my homestead, up to 174 episodes on there now, 174 weeks I've been on the homestead here in Bulgaria. That comes out every single Sunday, and the thumbnails will be easily differentiatable. So if you're only here for this kind of content, then thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoy it. But if you'd like to check out my homesteading videos, they come out every single Sunday. Anyway, on with today's piece from the BBC. This was actually on last night on a program called The World Tonight, and they are discussing climate change with an expert. So let's just have a little listen.
To do. So virtually every resource that could be mismanaged in the late 19th and early and 20th century, we mismanaged it, only beginning to realize the crisis we were in when the big droughts start to hit in the 1990s, and then really in the last 10 years.
The expert is actually talking about California specifically. Sorry, I should have mentioned that.
And now we know where we are, and there's attempts being made to change it. But I'm a historian. These things don't come out of nowhere, and it's not...
He's a historian. Okay, so he's giving the historian's view on why climate change has happened.
People didn't warn the citizens of California about them. They did. We are now reaping what we have done for a century and a half in the state of California.
So what is being done to mitigate this?
Well, right now, the mitigation started quite some time ago in cities like Los Angeles, which is sort of a model for the mitigation that's going to have to affect the whole state.
So Los Angeles is a model for mitigation of climate change that's going to affect the whole state. I'm not an expert on Los Angeles, but claiming it's a model for anything, from what I've heard, is probably not the best take on it. And we're now moving from his area of expertise. Don't forget, this is a historian. His area of expertise are history. He's now talking about the modern world, and in a minute he's going to start talking about the future.
Is you begin to cut down on water use. In California, Los Angeles has been very good on cutting down on water use. The second thing you do is you start looking at alternate ways of energy production. And the third thing that hasn't been done yet, but is going to have to be done, is we're going to have to totally redesign agriculture in the state of California.
So they're going to have to redesign agriculture because agriculture is such a heinous thing. Okay, in California, it's probably not the best idea to grow water-hungry crops, but still.
California water goes into agriculture. Most of it goes into high-value crops such as pistachios, almonds, fruits, nuts. These kinds of things simply are not going to be able to be sustained in the future. We're going to have to rethink how we grow crops in California and the scale of agriculture in the state.
California has been seen as a state that has been pretty forward-thinking generally when it comes to climate change compared to many other parts of the United States. Is that still the case?
Yes, it is. We really are, both in terms of energy and water. I think we rank above virtually every place in the world and are among the most progressive. So
California ranks above everywhere else in the world because they're the most progressive. You see, this isn't about climate change, this is about the ideology.
California, I think, has the policies in place that'll work, but the real sacrifices are going to have to be made. And the thing that worries me about the sacrifices, usually the poor have to make the sacrifices. We have a water system that's set up for a state that no longer exists.
So the future, you're a historian of the American West. What does the future of the American West hold?
I think the future of the American West here is actually has the possibility for being quite progressive. It's good.
So how do we deal with climate change? Progressive policy, apparently. They keep pointing out that he is a historian, so at least that's good that they do point out this person is talking about climate change from a historical point of view and what we've done in the past. So why he's an authority on public policy and what's working now, and even understanding the science behind climate change, I don't know. But this next section is really telling as to how the Democrats in California think they need to handle climate change. Now, you and I might assume that the best way to handle man-made climate change is by stopping the release of carbon, stopping the resource mining, stopping the production of oil, etc. But they seem to think they have a different idea.
More urban, because that's where you can bring the water in. We're going to be far more efficient in our resource use. I think too, and this is going to be a big battle, we're going to have to be a far more equitable society than we are right now. The current distribution of wealth, where simply you can buy your way out of problems like this, we can't sustain it. We all have to be in this together, which means there's going to have to be a reallocation of resources.
So his first point there was we have to be more urban. We have to move into the cities, because then resource distribution is easier. So you have to move to the city to fight climate change. Pretty sure the people in the rural parts of the world are far less, have a far more reduced effect on the climate than the people that live in big cities. But apparently if you stick everyone together in a big city, you're going to help climate change somehow. And the second thing he said was wealth redistribution. So things that can help fight climate change. Living in cities under communist rule.
I think you're going to see some pretty dramatic social change, but it's possible social change. This is not something I think that California can't do. And if California does it right, it will set an example for the rest of the country and I hope for the rest of the world.
Historian of the American West, Richard White. Well, we can go to a different part.
So that was historian Richard White, who thinks the answer to climate change is communism. City living communism. And he's a historian. We have a historian who thinks the answer is communism. Well, Richard White, I would suggest that you maybe turn your historical studies a little bit further afield than the American West, and maybe look at the history of communism across the globe. And let's take an example of one of the largest, most successful communist states ever to have existed. That would be China, the world's #1 producer of carbon emissions, that has no intention of doing anything about its escalating emissions until after 2030. And it doesn't even, it's saying they're not even going to peak until 2030. So from now until 2030, their emissions are just going to keep going up and up and up. They're already #1. So that's what communism does for climate change. But anyway, guys, hope you've enjoyed this section. Don't forget my book is available. It's called Sophie. It's available on Amazon. It's free if you've got Prime or Kindle Unlimited. So please go check it out. If you're not going to read it, just download it. It all helps. And yeah, if you do read it, I hope you enjoy it and let me know. And don't forget, of course, every single Sunday here on this channel, I do release my update for what I've been up to on the homestead this week. Anyway, guys, have a fantastic day, and I will talk to you again soon.